Hello, alumni. If you are joining us, well, obviously you're joining us, so thank you for joining us. We'll get started in just a few moments as people connect to their audio and get situated in the Zoom room. All right. All right, Denise, do you think we're ready to go? All right, perfect. All right, wonderful alumni. Thank you so much for joining us for this evening's edition of Topper Career Talks, which are brought to you by the Sandwich University Alumni Association and the office I am a part of, Career and Professional Development. So just a few housekeeping items before we get started tonight. I'm sure we've all done Zoom rooms plenty of times in the past 2 years. So just note that everybody is muted on this call. And so if you have any questions, please use the Zoom chat feature. And the event team is going to go ahead and monitor the chat and we'll present the submitted questions to our speaking group tonight. So there will be time to ask questions at the end of the presentation. And in order to have the best view of the speaker, consider changing your Zoom from gallery view to speaker view. And that is located at the top right of your screen. So it will say either gallery or speaker view, and you would want to change it to speaker. So just before we get into things, I'm going to make a quick plug for the office that I'm a part of. So we are all in, or not we are all in. Some of us are in career and professional development. So keep in mind that alumni have access to career services for life. So once a Hilltopper, always a Hilltopper. And we are here to provide you with career coaching on things like resumes, LinkedIn, review, cover letters, interview prep, and there's tons of job and internship listings in Handshake. We call it Hilltop Careers, but you're going to see it on our website as Handshake. You can reach us in a variety of ways. So you can always email us, and that's probably the quickest way to get us at seucareer@stedworth.edu. You can call us at the number listed there. And there's a lot of information located on our website, which is career.stedworth.edu. There's a special tab on that website that's specifically for alumni. And so you'll find a lot of really great resources. And if you aren't already in our Handshake system, there are some specific instructions on how to get situated with an alumni account in Handshake. But tonight we're here to talk to you about utilizing transferable skills to land your dream job. So as I mentioned already, Hilltopper alumni have access to services through career and professional development for life. Tonight, you're going to hear from Mary Junkus to learn about how to utilize transferable skills to help you land your dream job. We're going to provide an overview of how you can use and discuss those transferable skills to level up. Before I pass it off to Mary, though, I do want to take a moment to introduce the rest of the career and professional development team who is joining us tonight. So my name is Jason De La Rosa, and I'm the director. And I'm going to now have Jennifer Anseer introduce herself next.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Anseer. I'm the Associate Director for our Career and Professional Development Office, and I do a lot of the event planning for our office.
And next, we're going to pass off to Tori.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tori Carrillo. I am the career coach for the natural sciences folks here, but I love helping all of our alumni with whatever your needs are. So feel free, make an appointment with anybody that is available.
And last but not least, our wonderful presenter for the evening, Mary. And one thing I do want to note is if you are going to schedule an appointment with us later on, this is not the entire team. We have some people who had some other engagements this evening. So without further ado, I will pass off to Mary for introductions and then our big spiel for the night.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Mary. I am the career coach for the School of Arts and Humanities, and I'll be presenting to you today. So tonight we're talking about transferable skills. So first we have to identify what are transferable skills. Just like it sounds, all this is a skill that can be transferred from one experience to another experience. So you gain them through basically any life experience. One that we often reference with students and alumni is, what have you learned in your coursework? How about during your time on campus, any extracurricular activities? For alumni who've worked in professional roles before, we might say, what skills did you learn at your previous job? And this can include anything. It's very broad. Next slide, please. So a big piece of identifying these transferable skills and then being able to apply them to your next role, we call this career readiness. So when we're thinking about career readiness, these are the major career competencies that are listed in And these phrases like critical thinking and problem solving, oral and written communication, teamwork, collaboration, technology, leadership, professionalism, management, intercultural fluency, these are all competencies that are going to be relevant to almost any career that you might go into. And this is kind of the skill that will transfer. Next slide, please. So over the past few years, these are the top 4 skills that employers have consistently rated as the most essential to their work. You'll notice here that these are competencies that are really broad, and I'm sure you can think of a million different ways to apply them. So if you think about being a student, you can see how these would be applied. If you're thinking about having your first role in your field, you can see how these would be applied. And I'm sure if you think about your current role, whatever you're doing now, you can see how these would be applied there. So this is what we mean by transferable. Since all of you went to St. Edward's, you have a liberal arts degree. Employers like these skills that a liberal arts degree will provide. So you'll notice communication, teamwork, analytical skills. It's very, very similar to that previous list that we just saw of the top skills that employers are looking for. So when we're thinking about people with liberal arts degrees, they will be able to be adaptable because of kind of the breadth of subject matter that you've studied. Think broadly along the same lines, and then be able to take other perspectives and see things through other contexts. Next slide, please. Thank you. So, like I said, these skills can transfer from any experience to any experience. In the career office, we're often talking about how you can talk about your skills from previous experiences to a job or an internship, something that you're applying for. And this whole list can tell you some places, if you're unsure where to find, like, what skills do I have? Think about previous jobs, volunteer work. The list goes on and on. Hobbies, travel, interests, classes from when you were your time as a student, athletics during your time as a student or now, and any extracurricular activities that you do on the side. So when we think back to that list of the top 4 skills that employers rated as most valuable, you'll see them reflected here as well. This table is really useful to go through and kind of reflect on which of these you feel like apply to you and your role the most, and which of them might be most relevant to whatever it is that you're applying for next. So critical thinking was definitely on that list. When we're thinking about these skills and the way we present them, this kind of helps you get some language to use if an employer asks you, what are your strengths? Or if you're writing a resume, you might say, utilize critical thinking skills to do blank, blank, blank. If you're looking at this chart and you're like, oh, this is really overwhelming, I'm not sure where to start, we have a handy tool for you on the next slide, please. Actually, it'll be a slide after this. This one shows us these 5 different job titles. They're very different. So digital marketing, financial analyst, patient support specialist, research associate, and technical writer. These are pretty different fields and pretty different roles. But the top skills that each of these roles has put in their description as being something they're seeking in their candidates are 1, teamwork. So we can reference that back to collaboration on the previous chart. Written and verbal communication, also something on that previous chart. Critical thinking and analysis. I'm sure you're seeing the pattern here. And then finally, self-starter. Also organization and time management, which we can also see on that previous chart. So when we're thinking about how to speak about these skills, that can kind of be the hard part. We might be able to identify them and say, okay, this is a skill I use at my previous job. When someone asks you, what are your strengths or what are your skills? Sometimes it can be tricky to figure out what to say. So here's some ways just to kind of reframe these skills into full sentences that you could actually say to an employer. I'll use the leadership one as an example. Someone might ask you, what are your skills? You could say leadership. It sounds, I think, more assertive to say, I know how to be a leader. I can be a good leader. I've been a leader in the past, and here's an example of that. Next slide, please. Okay, so here's our handy activity. If you're thinking back to that chart of a whole bunch of different skills that were listed, and you're kind of unsure where to start, I'm going to challenge you to kind of go through this little flow chart here. And your largest little rectangle at the top here can be a project, like it says. It could be a work project, an academic project. It could also be broader or smaller than that, depending on kind of what you're working with. It could be a whole job. It could be an even smaller piece of a project, like a specific task. I want you to take that. I'm going to use working at HEB as an example. Let's say I'm a cashier at HEB. So that's my main project. I break it into tasks. So one of my tasks is greeting customers, interacting with customers, etc. My other task might be scanning products at a certain rate of like units per minute. When we think about the skills that come out of that, customer service in itself is a major skill. The other one that I might say that's a little bit more specific is interpersonal communication, verbal communication. When we think about our task of scanning grocery items at a certain rate through the check stand, we might think we have to be quick at it. So maybe that counts as self-starter, being self-motivated, wanting to meet that goal. We might also think you have to be detail-oriented, make sure you're scanning every item, making sure everything is rung up correctly. So that's just a broad example of how this chart can be applied to basically any role. We're going to start large, break it into tasks, and then break those tasks into skills. Next slide, please. So I would challenge you to do this for your own experiences, whether it's your job now, or again, any other experience that you've had. If you do need help talking it through, we're going to be on the line. So we can definitely do that right now. If it turns out that you need more help, you want to talk it through even more in depth, here is how you can schedule a meeting with your career coach. And like Jason said at the beginning, we offer a whole bunch of services to both current students and alumni. If you need your resume reviewed, if you need some help figuring out how to write down these transferable skills onto your resume, that's something we can do. So you're going to follow this link. Again, it's through Handshake. And then here is our other contact info, including our general email.
All right, so it's time to put things into practice. And so it looks like we've got a small number of folks so we can really dig in deep here. And so I think what we'll do, Denise, if we could sort of put all of the alumni into a room with both Mary and Tori to kind of walk through that project workflow that Mary was working through, that would be wonderful. And then don't go after the breakout rooms, folks, because we have a few more things that we want to plug. All right, everybody, welcome back to the main room. Hopefully you got some great one-on-one coaching and discussions about transferable skills. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it off to my colleague, Marissa Moses.
Thank you, Jason. I just want to remind everyone that the Alumni Association is your lifelong connection to the Hilltop. So please take a moment and follow us on your social media, on our social media sites, so you can stay up to date with everything that's going on. Also, make sure your contact information is correct with us so that you can keep receiving emails for events just like this. Next slide, please. Thank you. Your Alumni Association has one more event this month. The Alumni Leveling Up series, sponsored by the University Federal Credit Union, will be next week. Our alum, Daniel Guerrero, who earned his MSOL degree in 2009, will provide tips for graduates on political advocacy and community building, along with University Federal Credit Union's Monica Maldonado Williams. In December, if you are in the Austin area, we invite you and your family back to the Hilltop for the Hilltopper Holiday Mingle. We're planning for this event to be outside, but we also have an inclement weather site just in case. There's also still time to join our alumni book club. We just picked the book this week. You just need to sign up on our book club Facebook group. That's a lot to say in one sentence. Next slide, please. Another way you can stay involved with the Hilltop is to support our current students by giving to the Alumni Association's Endowed Scholarship. This is an important way that you can help offer the gift of a Holy Cross education to further generations. To give, please visit bit.ly/SCUAA scholarship. And once again, I want to thank our campus partners, the Career and Professional Development Office, for their presentation and lifelong services for you, our alumni. Have a great rest of your evening.